Welcome, welcome. So if you're here, it's because you want to paint a beautiful rainbow watercolor unicorn. So this unicorn, she's pretty fun, and she uses some of the techniques that you will have looked at in that warm-up video that is linked below. If you have not yet watched that, please go back and watch that. That'll help you to paint this. If you want to know how to get that outline onto that piece of paper there, you need to also click the link below, and that will help you to get that outline on there, whether you have graphite paper or not. So the way we start this one is we start up here, and the reason I do that is because I'm right-handed. So if I paint from up there, then I'm not going to be smudging any of my work. If you're left-handed, maybe you might like to watch this video in reverse. I'm not sure. No, but I'm sure it'll work the same way. You paint up here and you're not going to be smudging over anything because there's actually nothing on this side anyway. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to start with a little bit of grey on my brush, my activated paints. These are nice and wet, okay, as we spoke about in the warm-up video. And on the side here, I'm going to get some of that grey and actually really water it down. Okay, I want it to be only very, very light. And then I'm going to scrape some of that paint off my brush and only paint it down the bottom part of those unicorn, the actual horn on the unicorn. I don't want it over the whole horn, just the bottom side, to create a little bit of a shadow. Now, my unicorn's quite small. The outline you've got is meant to be for an A3 piece of paper, but I've done this on an A4 one just for something different, to be honest. Okay, so the first decision of this session is how I want my rainbow to be. So I can start this any way I like. And what I'm going to do for this unicorn is I'm actually going to start over here because this is wet. I don't want the colour of her fringe to go into my horn. So I'm going to start over here. And I'm going to start over here with I might start with a turquoise or teal today. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint that on this first little bit over her face, fringe, there. Okay, and I'm going to continue that down all the way to the edge of my paper. I'm going to wet my brush, use my green to paint the next bit. I want them to touch. I don't want them to be all separate until I get closer to the bottom where I want them to be separate, because I want to be able to show that they're actually separate pieces of hair. I'm going to use some yellow, paint the next bit on. Then what's after yellow in our rainbow? Here, I'm going to do some orange. Okay, that orange, I think. Yeah, that's good. Paint it down. I'm not going to touch it all the way down, because like I said, I want to show that it's a separate bit of hair. Orange, what's after orange? Let's go to a lovely kind of red, pinkish red, I think we'll call it. Red, starting thick up the top there, going thinner down the bottom. Joining them up at the top there because I want them to blend together. Then I'm going to go to a, I am going to go to a purple. Purple, there we go. And then I'm going to finish off with a blue. Okay, so that is my mane done. Nice and quick, isn't it? What I'm going to do next is I'm going to twist this a little bit to paint the snout or mouth of the unicorn. And I'm going to paint inside here with just water, just to use some of my wet on wet technique, make the colours blend a little bit better. And I'm going to paint the bottom of this a green colour. You can do this however you want, by the way. You don't even have to do rainbow if you don't want. You can do whatever colours you like. But this is the way I'm doing it today. Some green. I'm going to go into that turquoisey colour and go from the top there to blend those colours together like you seen in that warm-up video. So it's got painted one side with that turquoise colour and then the bottom side with that green, and in between, because it's all wet, they'll blend together themselves, which is kind of cool. I'm not going to paint the nostrils on because they're black. I don't want the black to touch the coloured bit, otherwise the black will bleed out everywhere. Now, what I'm hoping is that in the time it took me to do my mane, my horn has dried, and it has, I could feel that. I can also check by moving my page and seeing if it's shiny. See that it's wet here, so it's nice and shiny, whereas it's dry over here and it's not shiny anymore. So what I'm going to do this time though is I'm actually going to wet down all of my hair, top of her head, the fringe, just clean water. Clean water. And then I'm going to pick my colours. So I've gone, I know I want to finish with a green because I've gone to turquoise over here. So I want that to be a green over here. And then I want to move into a blue kind of colour. I might go this really dark blue for a little bit. Not much because it's quite strong, isn't it? Kind of like the unicorn being a little bit pastel. Soft, gentle colours for our beautiful unicorn. I pick this nice light blue now. Carry that down. Remember, I've had it wet to start with so that it bleeds out on purpose. Then I've done that blue, so then I'm going to pop in some of this colour. I think that looks like it'll be good, just a different type of blue. Going into a purple. And then I'm going to paint this next little bit here in a lighter kind of purple. And so what I'm going to do is mix some of this purple over the side and a more pinkish purple, not a lighter one. Add some of this pink to it. Yeah. And then use that to paint the colour instead. Just so I get a little bit of difference from where I finished and where I started. Not super necessary, but you know, can be done that way. Okay, we're almost done. She's really quick, isn't she? And you know, I really like this colour that I've got on my brush right now, this purplish colour. So I'm actually going to paint her eye that colour too. So that's around this area here. I'm going to paint where the black goes as well. I'm not worried about that because when I do the black, it'll go straight over the top. There. And then the last couple of bits. So we've got some black that needs to go here. She's got a bit of a mark here that I actually forgot to trace. I'm going to just freehand that in. You will have that on yours though if you've traced the picture. Okay. And then her ears. So I am going to do her top ear, this green colour. And I've traced mine a little bit funny. It's actually meant to be up here. But I'm just going to go with what I've got, leaving a little bit of a white gap. But you'll paint inside your outline if you've got it there. And then over the top here, I'm going to paint this other ear. I'm going to do it a blue to match in with the colours I've got in her fringe. Remember to pause the video if I've gone too quick over something. Rewind it. That's the beauty of doing something over a video, isn't it? You can do that. Okay, so now she's quite wet. You have a couple of choices in how you finish this off. You can wait, just let it sit for a couple of minutes, come back to it when it's dry and then do this next step. Or if you've got a hairdryer handy that a parent doesn't mind you using, or a caregiver doesn't mind you using, you can absolutely use a hairdryer. But I have this special thing called a heat gun, and I'm going to use that. Some of you might even have one, I'm not sure. But heat gun, don't touch the hot end. We don't want anyone to be burned. Okay, so I've got that there now. And what I'm going to do is use my really little brush. You can use your big brush if you like, but I've done my unicorn really quite small. So I do want to use a small brush for myself, or you don't even have to use a paintbrush. You can use a felt tip pen, or, you know, a little texter, something like that to help you do this, because these areas here are little. They're quite small. Just filling in the nostril space there, and the line that goes just above that. And this is a nostril too, isn't it? Just there like that. And lastly, I'm going to do the inside of the pupil, which is the black bit of the eye, and just outline that eye and give some beautiful eyelashes. And I also like to outline the horn. But like I said before, it might be easier for you to do this with a pen rather than a paintbrush. I have a really steady hand from lots and lots of practice, so I am going to use my paintbrush. But it looks just as good if you use a black pen, I promise. Okay, I think she's done. And that is our beautiful rainbow. Just wanted to do that. Beautiful rainbow unicorn. Doesn't she look lovely?